Hello guys and welcome to the next YouTube video. So in this one we are going to be talking about step loading and how to actually use it within Strongman. So what is step loading? Well, it's basically a protocol that you can use to basically get a load of volume on a specific area. That area is usually the weak area of a certain lift. So if it's pressing, normally it's triceps, or it could be the triceps area. If it's within your deadlift, we're going to go for the hamstrings, glutes, depending on where exactly the weakness is. You'll target that area with a supplementary accessory. You can use this protocol on your main lifts, but I find it works really well at exposing and putting a lot of volume into the weak muscles, which will be mainly targeted on the supplemental accessories. Couldn't even get it out then. Accessories. So, what is step loading? Basically, we are adding a lot of volume. You're starting off at about an RPE sort of 7 sort of range, or if you know what your 1 rep max is on a certain accessory, you're starting off at around about 60% of your 1 rep max. The reason why this works really well in Strongman is because it's allowing us to get a lot of volume onto the muscle itself, and a lot of Strongman events require doing basically for reps on certain exercises. So whether it's deadlift for reps, log press for reps. So basically we are conditioning the muscle and targeting the muscle in a way that's putting a lot of volume, similar to how some of the events will work basically within a Strongman competition as well. So to get straight started into it, what we are going to do, I'm going to get it up on a whiteboard. I hope you can fucking see this. So it runs on a 4-week protocol, but you can stretch this out over 8 weeks if you really wanted to. To be quite honest with you, I like it over 4 weeks, but you can, like I say, stretch it out over 8 weeks. I'll just tell you how to use both of them, but I'll tell you why I prefer it over a 4-week period instead of an 8-week period. So each week, like I say, you're going to start off at about RP7 or 60% of your 1 rep max if you do know it. And what you're going to start off with, the most common way of doing it is starting off 3 sets of 8 reps. So I'm just going to mark that down, 3 times 8 on the whiteboard. And you're going to start at about an RP7. We'll do an RPE instead of the 60%, because to be fair, a lot of these supplemental accessories that you may use this on, the way I do, you don't normally know your 1 rep max on it. So we're talking like currently what I'm doing in my training using this is using a Swiss bar floor press with a wide grip. Obviously, I've never really done that to a 1 rep max before, so I ain't gonna know where I am in terms of the 1 rep max sort of mark, so I can drop down to 60%. So instead, built up to about an RP7 and then ran with that for 3 sets, 8 reps, just on there, do mind my writing, and RP7. So then, after we've done that, that first week should feel relatively like manageable, basically, is what we're gonna call that. So relatively manageable, not too difficult, not too hard. And you shouldn't really get too much of a pump or anything like that on the muscle that we're trying to target and expose. To be quite honest, it's just more of a familiarization sort of week where we're just getting used to doing the accessory instead of anything else, to be quite honest. So then week 2, what we're going to do is this is the beauty of step loading. So this is, in a nutshell, this is what step loading is. Each week you are adding a set but taking away a rep. So because we started off with 3 times 8, what we're going to go up to is 4 sets times 7 reps. So 4 times 7, just on there. What we're going to do for the load is we're going to go 5% heavier than we did on week 1. So plus 5%. Can't even do a percentage mark. But yeah, plus 5% for the load. So let's say we do 100 kilos on a RDL as the accessory that we're going to use in this example. For the first week we did 100 kilo. Second week we come add 5%. So I'm going to do some quick maths here. Is 105 kilos for 4 sets of 7 reps. And basically, again, that should feel harder than week 1, but still quite manageable, to be quite honest. So week 3 then, we're doing the exact same thing. So it'll be 5 sets times 6 reps. And again, we're adding another 5% a load compared to week 2. So each week we're just adding 5% on, dropping a rep, adding a set. And that third week is usually going to be the hardest week because we're adding a load of volume onto the muscle. And to be quite honest with you, for me, that's the most important week, because if you can get through that, that will be really hard to get through. But if you can get through it, you're going to get rewarded quite nicely. If I look like I'm slowly slipping down, this chair's broken at this moment in time, so my head is slowly, I can just feel the chair slowly going down. So if I look like I'm sinking, I basically am. And then the 4th week, this is where you can change it up. So how I would do it, in fact, I am going to tell you how you could do it if you're running over in 8 weeks. So if you're running over in 8 weeks, basically you will do 2 times 5. And again, you plus 5%. It's sort of like the halfway point, obviously week 4. So 2 sets, 5 reps, and you use it more of a pre-planned deload on this exercise. I don't really like it because I feel like spending 8 weeks on a certain accessory is way too long, to be quite honest. 4 weeks is the maximum I do honestly believe and I have seen generate the best results. So for me, that doesn't work, in my opinion. You might be able to get it with a lot of newer, so if you're a lot newer to strength training and strongman training itself, you might be able to stretch the exercise and the accessory out for 8 weeks. I don't quite like it for a little bit more experienced people, which most strongmen usually are a little bit more experienced, a little bit more used to lifting heavier weights and stuff. So how I like to run the 4th week is basically, it's going to be to build to a 5 rep max. So put it on there. So ignore the 5% because you're just having a little bit of fun basically on this final week. You're building up to a 5 rep max, and the reason why I like this is because, one, you get the strength element side of things to basically carry over into strongman nicely with the supplemental accessory. Accessory, I can't even say it now. But then you also get basically the benefit of and the funness of trying to build to a 5 rep max and see what you can actually hit on the certain accessory as well. So not only does it transfer really well over, it also gives you a little bit of something to look forward to and aim for over the 4 week period, especially if it's communicated well. So if you're told, if you as an athlete is told, look, we're going to do this for 4 weeks, it's going to be a lot of volume, might be difficult on the 2nd and 3rd week, but then on the 4th week, you got something to look fun to because you're going to go hit and 5 rep max on this exercise. That's going to motivate you a little bit. It's going to keep you engaged over the 4 week period, especially with this accessory, because you're going to be looking forward to go hit a 5 rep max and see what you can hit on it. So that's how I'd run step loaded. Now, you don't have to use the reps and sets that we've got here. You can use a bit more of a strength based sort of reps and sets. So what I'll do, I'll rub all these out. So how you can start it off with is doing 3 times 5 reps. Obviously the starting load will be different if you are using percentages. So the starting load will still be an RP7 ideally, but obviously if you're using a percentage, it's going to change, which is why I don't like using percentages, to be quite honest with you. I like using the RPE so you can get a feel for the movement and see where 3 times 5 reps is roughly about RP7. Then week 2, obviously, again, it's same sort of principle. So we're going 4 sets of 4 reps on week 2. So 4 by 4. Like you said, this is the way to introduce it as a bit more of a strength sort of protocol instead of more volume, targeting a weak area. I'd maybe use this one more on the main lifts more than anything else because we're getting a bit more strength sort of focused. So then the 3rd week, we're going to go 5 times 3 reps. Again, adding a 5% load from the previous week. And like I said, the same principles, same apply. And then for the final week on this one, instead of going for like a 2 rep max or anything like that, I like to build to a 3 rep max on the final week. So you've got a lot of exposure at that 3 rep range from week 3. So then building for a 3 rep max is how I'd like to end that one. And that one will work really well on squats, on deadlift, on log press, any sort of overhead event. Works really, really well. Now you can use this on more specific events, say like the Atlas Stones or something like that. You can use it like that. To be quite honest, doing like 3 times 8 or anything like that on the Atlas Stones is a lot. So I'd maybe stick more towards this one if I was going to use it on the sort of like any specific events like sandbags or stones or anything like that. With like obviously farmers and yoke, you ain't going to use this type of protocol, but it works really well for a lot of like the static events, to be quite honest with you, more than anything else. So that's how you do step loading. Like I say, it's really, really good. Transferring over to the like amount of volume that's basically required within Strongman, and I feel like it puts, when used correctly and targeting a specific weak muscle or weak area, weak muscle group, it works so fucking well. Like I stress how good this works. There's a reason why I've got it so much within my training and within my clients' training as well, because it works so well and it's easy to understand, it's easy to do, and it gives you a little bit of something to aim towards on that 4th week as well, building to a rep max. So if you enjoyed this video and if you learned something, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, if you're quite new to this channel, there is a few videos previously that I've put on. That's the Road to England Naturals. So go watch them. I do talk a little bit about like my training towards England Naturals and the nutrition side of things. And also you get to see me doing a few different training bits and bats. So yeah, like and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you in the next one.